What are physical quantities? A physical quantity is anything that can be measured. Physical quantities have magnitude, that is size, and units. Take for instance the cylinder above. The length can be measured, that is the height, with a meter rule. Now the height of this cylinder is measured to be 3 meters. The 3 represents the magnitude or size, while m, which is meters, represents the unit. The clock here measures 20 seconds. The 20 represents the magnitude or size, while the second represents the unit. The mass here is measured as 10 kilograms. The 10 represents the magnitude, that is size, while the kilogram represents the unit. Okay, we have looked at physical quantity and we have looked at their magnitude. I would also say that they have units. Now let us look at what a unit is. So what is a unit? But before then, let us take a look at the meaning of measurement. So what is measurement? Measurement is done to find a number that shows the amount of something. Hence, we can define what a unit is. So we say a unit is therefore a standard for measurement. Measurements are done using units. You take measurement using standard units and convention. Let us look at the types of physical quantities. Physical quantities are categorized into 2. Namely, fundamental or basic physical quantities and derived physical quantities. Now, what are fundamental or basic physical quantity? They are physical quantities in terms of which other quantities are defined or expressed. They are independent of other quantities. Now, what are derived quantities? They are physical quantities obtained by the combination of 2 or more fundamental quantities. There are 7 basic physical quantities. The 7 basic physical quantities are we are looking at the 7 basic physical fundamental quantities. So we have 7 fundamental quantities. Now let us examine and list the 7 fundamental quantities and their unit of measurement. First, we have length. Length can represent distance, it can represent height or breadth. So together they are referred to as what? Length. And it is measured in meters with a meter rule. Next is time, measured in seconds with a clock. There are different types of clocks. We have the quartz clock. We also have watch, digital and analog clocks. Next is mass, measured in kilogram. So this is a mass measured in kilogram. Next, we have temperature, which is measured in Kelvin with a thermometer. So the SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Next, We have current electricity or electric current measured in amperes. Next, we have amount of substance measured in mole. So the SI unit of the amount of substance is the mole. And finally, we have luminous intensity, which measures the intensity of light. Okay, let us look at examples of derived quantities, derivation from fundamental quantities. So we want to look at how fundamental or derived quantities are derived from fundamental quantities. So I take some examples here. Now we have length divided by time gives speed. Here, speed is a derived quantity, while length and time, as mentioned earlier, are fundamental quantities. Next, we have length times length. That is going to give us area. So length and length are fundamental quantities, while area is a derived quantity. Let us look at mass times speed. That is going to give us momentum. Momentum is a derived quantity. Speed is also a derived quantity, while mass is a fundamental quantity. So it means that a combination of a fundamental quantity and a derived quantity can also yield another derived quantity. So you can combine a derived quantity and a fundamental quantity to obtain another derived quantity. Length times length times length will give us volume. So these are all examples of derived quantity. We have 7 fundamental quantities and we have numerous derived quantities. So a combination of any of the 7 fundamental quantities gives derived quantities. You can also combine a derived quantity with a fundamental quantity to obtain another fundamental quantities. So all these quantities obtained by either dividing or multiplying 2 or more base quantities are called derived quantities.